Hello, I'm glad you could join me again for this time of Bible study, and I'd like to take this opportunity to invite you to worship with us at the Bearden Church of Christ. You'll receive a warm welcome if you do. We've been studying in the book of Genesis, and we've made it to chapter 4, and what we've seen happen so far in our study is that Cain and Abel both offered a sacrifice to God. Abel's was accepted, Cain's was not. Cain could have and should have done what was necessary to make his sacrifice acceptable, but instead he did not do that. Instead, he got angry that his sacrifice was not acceptable, and that leads us to where we are today in our study, as we'll start in Genesis chapter 4 with verses 6 and 7. And it's there we read, "And the Lord said unto Cain, Why art thou wroth? And why is it that thou countenance falleth? If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him." If Cain had not grown angry, but had simply done what he was supposed to do, the way that he was supposed to do it, then his sacrifice would have been acceptable. But he didn't do that, and when given the opportunity to make things right, he still didn't want to do right. He just grew angry and never fixed the problem. And sometimes that's what happens with people in their lives, is that people, instead of wanting to do right and make the correction that they need to make, instead just get angry that things didn't go the way they wanted it to go. One of the problems with sin is that the more we do it, the easier it becomes. So when we do wrong and then we get mad because we don't get the result we wanted, many times we just simply commit more sin and do more wrong and never fix the problem. And so let us have the wisdom from God's Word to realize that when we do wrong, that we need to fix that instead of simply getting mad about it. In verse 8 we read that Cain talked with Abel his brother, and it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and slew him. One of the great tragedies in the Bible is a brother slaying his own brother. Cain here simply killed Abel because of his anger that his brother's sacrifice was acceptable and his wasn't. As I said earlier, Cain could have and should have made his sacrifice right, but he didn't do that. And so now he has the blood of his brother on his hands, and not only that, guess what? His sacrifice is still not acceptable. And in verse 9 we read that the Lord said unto Cain, Where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? In this verse right here, we see the growing grip of sin on man. When confronted about their sin in the garden, Adam and Eve reluctantly admitted to what they had done, but here Cain told a flat-out lie to God. We also see here the coldness of Cain's heart. Not only did he flat-out lie to God, but he even had the statement about, Am I my brother's keeper? Let me remind you of something. We are all our brother's keeper. Every man was created by God, man, woman, and child. Every man was created by God in the image of God and with an everlasting soul. And because of those things, we should be concerned with the welfare of every man. The next passage coming up is one that I have a whole lot to say about. And so we're going to go ahead and end today's lesson early, so I'll have more time to talk about that next time. I thank you for watching today, and I hope you'll continue to watch as we take this walk through the King James Version of the Bible. I've actually enjoyed doing this, and I hope you've enjoyed watching this, and I hope you've enjoyed this Bible study that we've had together. I invite you to keep watching, but more than that, I invite you to join us for worship services at the Bearden Church of Christ. We meet at 745 Cedar Street. If you're coming from out of town, that's Arkansas Highway 203. We meet at 10 a.m. on Sunday morning for Bible study, at 11 a.m. for morning worship service, again at 5 p.m. for evening worship service, and on Wednesday nights we meet at 7 o'clock for midweek Bible study. We want you to be a part of us. We invite you to come and join us as we worship Him in spirit and in truth. We look forward to seeing you. Thank you for watching today, everybody. Goodbye, and God bless.